So what drove Meta up over $20 today? And why is it still such a great bargain? Stick around, this should be a great video today. Hello, my YouTube friends. My name is Adam Kahn, and this is Investing with Adam K. Well, I think it's Thursday by you, but it's actually Friday here in China. Feeling a little overwhelmed, feeling like I'm a little bit out of my element and maybe like the gazelle walking into a lion's den. It really is pretty amazing out here. I'll talk about that a little bit in today's video as well if you stick around towards the end. But what's going on with Meta? Why was it up so much today? Is the stock still well valued or is it getting overpriced already? I don't really think so, and I'll get into that as well. And what's another great stock that I see right now that's a good bargain? And it'll be a little bit of a joke with my buddy Steve, who really hates it. Spoiler alert, Target, which I've talked about a zillion times, and I know some of you hate it as well. I have to do it because of that, but I think it's a great value. I don't think it's a great stock. So what's going on with Meta? Why was it up so much? Well, it's kind of silly actually to me, but it does show what I was talking about when I saw it as a really good value when it fell below $600 a share, which is they talked about slowing down their spending on the metaverse, which was kind of what I was saying that Mark Zuckerberg learned after the 2022 correction of his stock. The stock was plummeting. Nobody wanted to own Meta. It was out of favor, and the reason was how much money they were going to be spending on the metaverse. Everybody hated it. So what did he do? He changed the rhetoric to the year of efficiency. He talked about how he was going to slow down the spending and start focusing on profits. And the stock started going straight back up. It went from, below $100 a share. It was probably a little above $80, back to above 700 over the next couple of years, simply because he stopped spending as much and changed the rhetoric to the year of efficiency instead of growing the metaverse. So fast forward to today, they reported earnings recently. People didn't like how much they were spending on the capital expenditures, even though he outlined that they can use those spending on things that they're going to use internally, even if it doesn't work for growing AI the way that people hope. So here he is announcing great earnings. The company's doing really well. They're going to spend a bunch on AI, and he's already concerned about the reaction. So he's prepping people that, these are things that even though we're spending a lot of money on, that if it doesn't work for AI and growing our revenue in terms of our advertising and business and all the things that are wonderful about Meta, it's okay because we need the data centers and the stuff that we're building the infrastructure on for our own use. So no matter what, the spending is good spending. And what happened? The stock started to fall off. It fell off so hard that it was trading at 20 times current price to earnings, which is a bargain for a company that's growing at like 15 to 20 times earnings. Like, they're growing at an exceptional pace for a stock that's as big as it is, and people still beat them up for the money that they're spending, that they have plenty of it to be able to spend. So what does he do? He makes an announcement that they're going to slow down the metaverse spending, and the stock shoots up. It's so silly to me. It's such a great company. It's such a good valuation. It still is, even at $660 a share, which is approximately where it closed today. I really envision Meta being at 800 within a year. And again, as always, this is not financial advice. Please do not be listening to me. You need to do your own research when it comes to your financial decisions, and I think you should reach out to a financial advisor. I am not a financial advisor. I am just doing this stuff for entertainment purposes only, and I'm sharing with you my journey and the things that I do in my own investments. Meta being the largest position that I have, and I even added on when it pulled back, which is very hard to do because it really is my largest position. I just think they're such a great company that doesn't have a huge amount of expenses other than what they choose to spend on, and they generate a ton of money. They are a huge advertising machine. And the fact of what he did today shows their ability to rein in the spending if they need to. And again, I think it's all kind of silly since they had such great revenues and such great earnings that the street didn't really like it and sold the stock off. Now, on a different note, I'm looking at my hair and how long it is. We're in China right now. For anybody who hasn't watched the past few videos, I kind of let it get this way. Not that anybody really cares about my hair, but I'm noticing it while I'm doing the video. And I kind of did it on purpose because they do such a great job on haircuts in China, and it's really inexpensive. It reminds me of like what it's even more than what a haircut was when I was a kid. So I was excited to get it done. I just haven't found anywhere yet, and I haven't had time. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about the China before I get in the Target. But last time we came this summer, I went where my wife lived because we were here for a few months. So of course, need to get a haircut. And you go in, and I think it costs like $12 or $15 at most, which isn't super cheap for China. You can find places that'll do it for $4 or $5. But let me tell you guys, it was like a modern, nice facility. They take me in, they lay me down, they washed my hair before cutting it. They start asking, what do you want done? Then they do straight razors on the back. They cut it really nicely. Then they bring you back and wash your hair again. And in the meantime, they're bringing you tea or water or juice, all included in the service, treating you unbelievably well. Not like when I go to other places, I won't mention the names, in the US, and they use the equivalent of a modern day Flowbee to get you in and out of there in like 5 minutes flat. I hate that friggin' Flowbee haircut. I have to request that they actually use scissors when they cut my hair, primarily because I just hate that they use a Flowbee. Like, it drives me nuts. Like, we could do that at home. I could get a razor, I could have my wife go in, just and be done. And it defeats the whole purpose of going in. So we were coming out here. I figured I'd get it done. Now I'm looking at myself in the screen, kind of like, buddy, you need to get your hair cut. I bet nobody else even notices, but that type of stuff drives me nuts. Anyway, why Target? Why am I constantly talking about Target, this lousy retail company that's totally outdated, doesn't seem to be getting their shit in order, and doesn't seem to be progressing? I totally get it. I understand why people don't like it. But when you dive into the numbers, they make a lot of money, and they're doing just fine, and they don't seem to be a Sears or a Kmart that is just doing worse and worse and potentially going out of business. Now, anything can happen. So I don't want to say they're not going to be the next one, because maybe they will. But every time I drive past parking lots, they're pretty full. And if you go inside, they have a lot of customers in there, and they're doing more and more online and a lot more of just pick up and go, which I'm sure helps drive their revenues. I think the problem with Target is they aren't progressing where their stores look fine. It's not an unpleasant experience, but they've lost that rhetoric of Target, of being this nicer place to shop at than Walmart for the same prices, because the prices have gone up and it's gotten a little schlocky, and the staff isn't very friendly like they used to be, and they've added this grocery that to me is the worst segment. But from their standpoint, since their sales seem to be improving, they think it's doing well, and I think it's a bit of a mistake, because at least for me, it's a huge section of a lot of the stores that they use, and it's kind of like this in-between no man's zone that doesn't have a personality. And it's kind of, I feel like, pick a direction and know your customer. They're trying to make it look nice so it doesn't feel sloppy like a Walmart might. And I think that's one of the differences of Target in general, is they do have a nicer environment to shop in. But what I don't like there is it isn't quality products from what I can tell. And I don't want to be too harsh on them, but when I look at the meats, they look like cheap meats, but they have like whole food prices on them. So why would I be buying my chicken or my vegetables at Target that seem overpriced, but no better than Smith's or Albertsons or a discount store, and paying high retail prices, especially because the point of Target is nicer experience, but same type of prices. So I think they've kind of lost that direction and don't know where they're going. They recently had a new CEO, and what the street didn't like about it is it was just somebody who moved up the chains who was already in their ecosystem, and not somebody coming from the outside who potentially has a new set of eyes to change things. They might be correct. Like, that's why I don't want to negate the negative things that are going on with Target and say that it can't be a problem. But I think a new set of eyes is a new set of eyes, even if it's from within the same ecosystem and comes from the same company. Hopefully, he can improve some things, bring back that attitude of like this great place to shop that's still great bargains. Because to be fair, when you go online, they're very competitive and most of the stuff is the same price as somewhere else. It's just some things have gotten out of whack a little bit. Now, I don't buy my clothes there, but my understanding is they have good clothes too at a reasonable price. I just can't stand the grocery section, which it's funny to me that it seems to be something that's doing quite well on their sales. Now, maybe they can expand it and turn it into a little bit better. I just would like to see it pick a road, either do really nice version and make it a Whole Foods type of shopping experience, or make it more like Smith's or Albertsons and be a little bit more reasonably priced. And I've actually used their drive up service where I bought some earbuds from them and it worked exceptionally well. And I bought a couple other products there as well. What I'm pretty impressed with them and Best Buy when I've used it is how quickly the people get to the car. I actually used it at Albertsons as well, and we've had delivery from Whole Foods. And what I can tell you from the grocery stores is do not order your eggs from there. I don't know if they do it on purpose, but 4 out of 5 times ordering eggs from Whole Foods, they've come broken. And a few times it's multiple eggs in the container, which is really frustrating. And my wife does it because the prices are reasonable and why not have your eggs delivered? It's just simpler. But the fact that they've been broken the times that we've ordered, we're going to stop. I did it at Albertsons where they put it in the trunk of your car. Same thing, they were broken. It's just super annoying. And I guess we should have known better, like who would order the eggs there, but we were making our lives more convenient, picking up some things and going from there. But it's amazing how quickly, at this point, the Albertsons by us, you can let them know you're on the way, and they'll use tracking to see how far the car is, so that the minute you're pulling into the parking spot, hitting the number of the spot you're in, the kid's walking out from the back helping to load up the car. What I do use it for is, like, we have a water softener because the water in Vegas is super hard. So I order the bags there. Now I help the kid put it in the trunk because I don't want them to have to they're heavy. But at least it's super nice not to have to go in, grab them, put them in the cart, walk around the store if I'm getting other things with those 40-pound bags in the cart, which make the cart hard to move. They'll bring it right to the car. I help put them in the trunk and off I go. So that's super convenient. But these services that'll do where you can just order online, show up, and they fill up the car are phenomenal. And Target is being able to grow that segment. They're even working on something to compete with Amazon where you can order online and have it delivered same day. I'm not sure how far along that's come and how well that service works, but I do think they have a vision for the future to be able to grow the stores. And I think all the things that went on to give the negative sentiment were actually not such negative things that they've been able to clean up already, which is what I like about it. It's trading at, I think, an 11 or 12 times price to earnings ratio. Super inexpensive. They're going through a little gully from the movie The Big Short. Anybody who watched that and is paying a little attention and gets it. Oh, it's just a gully. But they're going through a part where the sales have come down a little bit, but I think it's really reasonable, especially considering where it's trading in terms of the ratios and the money they do have coming in. It is not the threat of like a Kmart at this point where they're running into issues where they're spending too much and the revenues just aren't enough. It's nowhere close to that. They have a super low PE, and even though sales have slowed a bit, I have a feeling that that is going to be a short-term thing that they're going to work their way through. And if they could potentially get some marketing out there to get a good name again and start driving things where it grows, I think you're stealing the company at the valuations it is now. And then you're getting a close to 5% dividend yield from a company that's using, if I remember correctly, forgive me, I'm in the middle of nowhere, I don't have my computer to be able to put up, but I know I'm going to be pretty close. I think it's like 56% of their free cash flow to pay a 5% dividend. I mean, my God, talk about something that is a pretty secure dividend, pretty good yield to be able to rely on that going forward unless something happens that's really terrible. I mean, they're in a position that sales could slow significantly, and they still have plenty of reserves to be able to make those payments. So those are the reasons I really love Target. I do not think they are a Google or an Amazon or a Meta or the companies that I just love. I don't even think they're a Costco, which I love as a company way more than I love Target. But I won't buy Costco because I think the valuation's just too high. They're growing, forgive me again, I don't have it in front of me. I think somewhere about 8 or 9% in terms of their growth rate, and they're trading close to a 50 times price to earnings ratio, which just for me is something I can't pay for no matter how great I think the company is. Now, I hope everybody understands this. I think they're great companies. I love to see that Meta has done as well as it has the past few weeks. I actually was very excited to see how Robinhood has reacted, and I got out of on the trade. I still have a majority of it, but full disclosure, I bought 125 shares at like $107 a share. I sold the 25 shares today, and I'll at least keep the rest until either it becomes a loser or it kind of runs a bit further. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm loving it here in China. A little bit about feeling like the gazelle in the lion's den. So we came out here to buy furniture. I don't know how many people know that, because this is like the manufacturing capital of the world. Something like, I don't know, this is totally made up, but I think like 80% of all furniture and things of that nature are being built in southern China. It's a huge, they've got all the factories and everything else. Well, we've met with some people who say they work with the factories, but we get brought into essentially showrooms that sure don't look like factories. It's just a showroom of people selling furniture. The quality is much better than what you can find at home, which is part of what brought me out here. But I feel like, you ever see the movie Cars when the first one where the car is lost and they're driving through Radiator Springs, and the Porsche, I forget the name of the Porsche, is like, customers, it's customers. That's what I feel like when we walk in, especially when they see a white guy. And I kind of joked with my wife that I think they just see me and I should have a shirt that says like $10,000. Anything we seem to ask about, they say it's $10,000. And I don't believe it. I know you negotiate here. And I think they're just feeling me out to see what I react like and what we'd spend. And I think they see a foreigner from America and figure we can afford whatever we can afford. And it's highly unrealistic. Now, my aunt and uncle, or my wife's aunt and uncle live in Qingdao in China, and they've come and met us, and they have friends out here, and it'll be a whole lot of a different experience. But I think to come out kind of not knowing anybody and go to the areas, I think it probably won't be the way that one expects. Now, that being said, they have this store where all of them are, called the Louvre. And the first day going around looking at furniture, we walked over 5 miles, and I don't think we went through a quarter of the facility. It is unbelievably huge. It's hard to explain. They have like every designer you could imagine. Like, I didn't even know that these companies sold furniture. Robert Cavalli and Fendi and I saw a Bentley sign in there, and I didn't get to go in, but I even saw Patek Philippe, and I couldn't tell if they might have had a little watch area or if they literally were selling furniture. And they separate it based on like the high-end fancy sellers and then the others, but they had Versace and all sorts of stuff that was really amazing to just go and look at. And then they have a whole section of everything else. So I'm hoping now that my aunt and uncle are here and they have a friend who actually has connections and can get us a little bit more reasonably priced items, that we can show them the things that we really liked and see if the pricing is there too. The thing that is incredible to me is we found like a dining table and chairs that we really like that we'd probably end up getting if the pricing was right. And nothing has prices. They kind of just want to get your shopping list so that they can then give you a price and you can start negotiating. And then you have to figure out the logistics of having it shipped to the US and the tariffs and everything else. But what I love, part of why we came out here again, is the dining chairs are friggin' like solid wood for the arms and the other parts. They probably weigh 30 or 40 pounds. It is just such a solid chair, and that's the stuff like I can't find at home anymore. When we find a dining chair we like, even if it seems okay in the store, within a year or two, the things are friggin' wobbly and you have to rescrew the screws back in. The stuff here is just not built that way. Like, you can find that too. And you can find really inexpensive stuff. Like, they have everything from buying the least expensive to the most. The interesting thing was, or there are lots of interesting things, so it's funny I keep saying the interesting thing is, but getting off the plane and seeing all the people coming in, going through customs and who the buyers that are showing up, it really was surprising to me who I saw online and the majority of it. And it makes me recognize that all of that stuff that, like, if you go to Paris and you're going to the Eiffel Tower and all those guys sitting outside selling those little Eiffel Tower things, I guarantee somewhere around here they're making all that stuff. Or when you go to Canal Street, the stuff you're seeing sold there, or wherever it is in Europe or wherever where you see people around selling stuff, I think the bosses are coming out here to find the factories to negotiate that stuff and buying it in bulk and sending it wherever they're sending it. So there's so much going on. It is such an interesting town. And then you add to it, like, I really do love China. Between the food and the culture and the people, they are unbelievably friendly and hospitable. I think our vision of what goes on and the reality are just so different. So anybody who has an opportunity, I don't know that I would be coming to the South doing this type of stuff. I would be recommending going to Shanghai, Beijing, because how do you not go to Beijing and see the capital? But I would recommend, if you really want to love China, going to Shanghai and then going to a smaller town somewhere like Chengdu that was quite a surprise and maybe my favorite place. And Qingdao has to be just because that's where my wife's family is. So we have people to bring us around and it's a beautiful city as well. But you go to Chengdu and it's like you're in Chicago or, you know, it's probably closer to the size of New York, but for China, it's like a Chicago. And I wish I could explain. I know I talked about it in Japan and even put a little picture of the street, how unbelievably clean it is. And since Chengdu is where the pandas are, the whole city kind of has this panda motif. If you go to like a coffee shop, some of them, there was one in particular that they made the foam look like a panda, and another one had a little, I don't know exactly what it was. I think it was a candy that they were closing when we went by, but I saw the picture of it. But a little panda that they'll put on top of the coffee to make it look cute. And then a lot of the stores have, like, even if they're not selling anything panda, there will still be panda for the awning or for the signage or something. And they've got their chaggy milk tea places instead of, like, they still have Starbucks and stuff, but they have the things that make them uniquely Asian as well. And then they have all of the designer stuff that anybody would want, as well as if you want to have like a walking street experience, they have that type of stuff too, where you'll find discounted clothes that may not be name brand, but it's incredibly inexpensive. And similar to Amazon, but on a much larger scale, they have anything and everything delivered to you, and it comes in such a short amount of time. One of our suitcases broke, so we just wanted to find an inexpensive suitcase. We're at the hotel. My wife orders one. I think it cost about $20, and it was at the hotel within 20 minutes or a half hour. Incredible. Anyway, the bag came in like a half hour. We thought it would take longer, but we get back, it's in the room. And don't get me wrong, it was a cheap bag because we bought an inexpensive one because we didn't need anything fancy, but it worked perfect for being able to finish off the rest of the trip as well as the flight home. And actually, we used it again on this trip, even though it was just some schlocky bag that was really inexpensive and nothing like really solidly put together. It's good enough that it's lasted a little while and we've used it a few times. And anyway, like I said, anything and everything, it gets delivered really quickly. It's a pretty cool system they have out here, and it just seems like Amazon on steroids. Anyway, as always, do me a favor if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, make some comments in the comment section. I'm happy to try to get some video or stuff of some of the things we've done here. I'm not so sure they really want you to, not because they're worried about others seeing it, but what they really don't want is me going into a store, taking a picture of the furniture that guy's selling and then going somewhere else and having them make it for cheaper. At least that's what I envision they're not happy about. But what a cool country, what a cool city and area. Again, I'd probably, if somebody was ever interested in coming out to China, I would consider, Shanghai is so cool. It's like this huge city, super clean and totally modern and everything else. Like, that's what blows me away, because I think we have the wrong vision of what it's like out here. Anyway, again, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, make some comments. Let me know if you have any questions on anything. If there are any stocks you're looking at, I'll do a better job of analyzing them and having the real data and stuff once I get back home and have the computer. Maybe I get a new microphone and camera. My wife bought this cool, like, it's got the light, you can attach your phone to it. It looked pretty, I probably should have used that for this video. What a moron I am. And Rudolph, I know, don't worry, I get it. I don't really think I'm a moron. I just say that stuff. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.